Hi, my name is Jan. I'm from St. Mary and St. Anthony Church, Coptic Orthodox Church in Queens, New York. It has been a very joyful occasion today. It is a feast to the church that we have a new pope selected for our Coptic Church around the world and here in America, especially United States. We feel that the church has been through a difficult time, and I think. The process was a very transparent process. Metropolitan Bakhamis did a wonderful job leading the church in this difficult time, and also in the transparent process to choose a pope for our Coptic church. I think also that Bishop Taudros, or now Pope Taudros II, is going to be a great pope to our church. And I think he's going to face so many issues, especially the sectarian violence in Egypt with the Islamists. Especially now, they are rewriting the constitution with the government. He's going to have a very vital role in defining or rewriting this constitution, especially when it affects the Coptic Church in Egypt. I think the church is going through a very difficult time. I think the sectarian violence in Egypt, I think that it's a critical time for Egypt and for the Coptic Church that they may have a leader now. The fact that we have a leader is very important to our church and to the Coptic Church and the Coptic people in Egypt around the world. Our congregation needs someone to set the tone and set the tone for the new government, and to make sure that we have a voice with the government. And again, as I said earlier as well, that the constitution is being redefining or rewritten, so we need to have opinion, and the council around the Pope and the attorneys should be helping him out in redefining this constitution for the benefit of the whole church.
Congratulations to our new Pope, Pope Tawadros II. I guess maintaining peace in Egypt and all over the Middle East between Muslims and Christians.
I wish him luck, I pray for him, and I know that God picked him, and we all have to rely on him.
I'd like to say congratulations, and that I hope that you're happy birthday, and that I hope that that God gives you the grace and the wisdom to be able to deal with the real issues that we have as churches in Egypt and churches all around the world. As a universal and ecumenical church, I think it's important that the Pope's able to really communicate with the people here in America and all across the world and deal with the issues that we have here. I think there are three very important issues that His Holiness should work on after his enthronement on the seat of St. Mark. The first is the understanding of the Kolleia Clericale, or the seminary in Egypt, restoring it to its former glory, and having it become a priority of the believers in Egypt to go there and become people who are trained in the church. The second is being able to deal with the ecumenical relationships between the Coptic Orthodox Church, the Oriental churches, and the Eastern churches, and developing a dialogue between them. The last is to encourage our youth to become educated abroad with diaspora in all of the world. We need to encourage the Coptic youth to go to seminary, to learn the theology, and to be educated so that they can bring the understanding of the one true church to the world. I thought that the papal election process was very fair. It was great for the believers to see something that was so, in my mind, theatrical, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. And I thought that them also doing a selection process for the child who would pick the Pope was also really great. I hope to see Pope Tawadros become the Pope of unity. I think that it's important that with a generation that's moved abroad because of economic opportunity or because of persecution, that he really takes the time and effort to unite the churches, because there's a real disconnect between the church in America and the church in Egypt. Those people here don't seem to have the empathy to deal with what's going on in Egypt. And as His Holiness should, in my opinion, really take the effort to make our churches really more communal. We have the same name, we have the same faith, but there seems to be a large disconnect or discord between the two churches. That should also stretch not just in the Coptic churches, but beyond into the other churches.
I'd like to congratulate Emba Tawadros for becoming our 118th Pope, and wish the best of luck to you in all that you do. I would just like to get to know him as much as we all got to know Pope Shenouda, and just to see the great things that he's planning to do for our church. I'm just expecting him to keep up to build on the great things that Pope Kyrillos and Pope Shenouda have done for us, to make sure that they don't just die out, and to just help us in any way that he can.
I'd like to congratulate him on taking over the Coptic Orthodox Church, and and happy birthday as well. I'd like to learn about how he plans on taking over the Coptic community, especially everything that we've went through the past couple of years. Just keeping the Coptic Church together and to try to keep the peace between the Coptics and the Muslims in Egypt, and to keep the peace.
I'm Abanob from Queens, New York, in the United States. I'd like to congratulate His Holiness upon receiving the papacy and receiving after such a great Pope, and hopefully he can fulfill the see under God's power and will. I feel I don't know too much about Ahmed Tawadros before this election. However, I'd like to learn and know a lot about him, especially because knowing that he's such a learned man and he's been educated in a lot of high states. So I feel like he's a great candidate for this papacy, and I feel he would lead our nation and our country and our elect Christianity for it. His Holiness should definitely begin to work on communications between us and the Muslims, and definitely between all the other continents in the world, because as one Coptic, universal Coptic church, we should always work together and work to be universal and in one accord under Christ. I know he's a learned man, especially that he went to pharmaceutical school and that he completed a lot of college degrees, and finally that he went to ecumenical school to become one of great monks. And one thing that I know is that he's under Pope Pachomios, he's one of his disciples, so he definitely knows how to work around it. So I think he knows the system and that he's going to be able to hold it well, especially after such a great 40 years with His Holiness Pope Shenouda. I feel the church is already very, very communicating with each other by sending priests and bishops to each country, but I feel like His Holiness can do more, especially in visiting churches in all around the world, because that would just show unity. His Holiness Pope Shenouda was unable to do that because of his sicknesses. However, I feel that he would be able to, and that would just unify the church even more than it already is. Personally, I enjoyed the election process a lot, especially because of the fact that it happens very rarely in history. So I thought it was fair, the process was equal, and God's hand was definitely in it, because if it wasn't for him, this would just be a raffle and another person winning. So thank God for His grace and letting us receive this new Pope. Personally, I'd very much like to meet His Holiness and on a lot of retreats that we have as youth, work with him, because I feel he's very educated, and if we begin to learn from him, we can spread his knowledge throughout the world, and then we can all, as long as we're all educated, we can all begin to expand our belief and help each other in showing the true Christian love to around the world.
I would like to congratulate the new Pope and congratulate all the country, Egypt and here and all over the world, for the new Pope. I expect better communication between all churches all over the world to distribute peace and to also distribute the name of God all over the world.